coming back to this, let's see what happens if we change the load calculation. I monitor it's the same bolt that we used, and we had 21.185 because before 21.9. Now relaxed, it's losing its load, so it's a little less now. If I go back to load average, it's using this calibration file generated to come up with this data, this load value. If I switch this to calculator method, you totally going to get totally different value, because this method, the calculation value, is set up based on the parameters you given to this. So it depends. So it all depends on which of these tabs are engaged. So make sure this correct tab is engaged here. If you use this tab, just use self-load calibration, it uses its own calibration. Since there is no calibration for this particular bolt, so you're going to have something of error here, which is defaults to back to calculated method. I'll show you where it can be used. If I stop this, and suppose I go to the previous bolt, which is the same bolt, and this was calibrated before, and if you are use this one, monitor it, it's using, let's go back, it's using self-calibration, means its own calibration. If I click on method, and the calculation will use this information, which is a pound here, or if I use average calibration file, which since it's not been loaded here, I can use the same average calibration file for itself. Same calibration file I showed you before. So this one is using average calibration file. If I switch it to self-calibration, it's using its own calibration because it was part of the calibration. So some people want to calibrate every bolt and then reuse it. In that case, then they can use self-cal method. And self-cal is just like a strain gauge type bolt, which every bolt must be calibrated. In ultrasonic, you don't need to calibrate all the bolts. All you have to do is calibrate few of them, then create an average calibration file, and use that file to measure the load on bolts that have not been calibrated. So it means in that case, you use average calibration file. I hope it didn't confuse you, but going back to the same file that we had in there, we use this, make sure it says load AVG here. That means this bolt is using average calibration method. And to verify it, when you read the load here, it should be A after it, means average. So if the A is not there, means average is not used here, average calibration file is not used.